The Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, was summoned by the country's apex court today over the 2014 Peshawar Army Public School massacre case. A three-judge bench summoned the leader to the Supreme Court on Wednesday morning. Imran Khan's fleet arrived at the court by noon. Roughly 2 hours later, not knowing what was waiting for him inside the premises, Prime Minister Khan faced a barrage of questions. He went through a long grilling session to a point that Prime Minister Imran Khan had to request for a chance to speak. But sources say that he did not get any and was rather bombarded with more questions. Let's talk about what happened inside the court. The Pakistani court is hearing a 7-year-old case from Peshawar. In 2014, the APS Warsak school in Peshawar was stormed by the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan terrorists, killing a total of 147 people, including 132 children. Over 1,000 students and teaching staff were present inside the school. The attack had stunned the world. It was dubbed as Pakistan's 9/11. There were protests and candle vigils against the pro-Taliban outfits. 7 years on, the sitting Prime Minister of the country is signing peace agreements with the same terror outfit responsible for the bloodshed. Judge Qazi Muhammad Amin Ahmad reminded the leader about the same. In fact, asked him if his government is bringing the same outfit back to the negotiating table instead of acting against them. I'm quoting now from what the court said. Are we surrendering once again? The sharp questions from the court resulted in the Prime Minister saying the law will be upheld. I'm quoting. The Prime Minister said there is no sacred cow in the country and I believe in the rule of law. We will take action as ordered by the court. The parents of the victims demanded the civil and military leadership to be summoned and cases to be registered against them. The grieving parents have also demanded the court must hold a transparent inquiry into the incident. Our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik, who at the moment is in Kabul, is with us on the broadcast. Anas, tell us more about what happened inside the Pakistani court today.
Well, this is a 7-year-old case that is being heard by the Pakistani Supreme Court. And today in this case, the Pakistani Prime Minister was summoned for the fact that the Supreme Court's inquiry report and the recommendation that said to have heard upon the plea by the parents of those of the children who were killed. And they had basically gone and sought the plea to have the FIRs registered against the then Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, former army chief, the former intelligence chief, and the former Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, those who were at the helm back at the during that frame of time. The Pakistani Prime Minister was not briefed on that. The Attorney General took an excuse, and after that, the court had decided to summon the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan himself in person, to which Imran Khan did oblige the court. He was there. The courtroom was all full. He was bombarded with questions, and he was grilled as well, because the court was more insistent to know that what has the government done for the parents of those who have lost their children in this heinous attack, in the APS attack that took place on the 16th of December 2014. Imran Khan continuously insisted that he was not in power back at that point of time and that he had done political consultations. He was grilled by the Supreme Court judges for the fact that and there came a point when Justice Qazi Amin, he had remarked that are we signing a surrender document once again with the same terror outfit? And Imran Khan, the Pakistani Prime Minister, went on with his own old rhetoric that he has always been anti-war and that we have lost 80,000 people. Pakistan has lost more than 80,000 people in this war on terror, that this war was imposed, and that is the reason we need to see things in perspective. Whenever Imran Khan went into his speech mode, the court had to interrupt, and there was a barrage of questions that he had to face. Molly?
Right. Stay with me, Anas. Let's tell our viewers more about the precedent that has been set now by the Pakistan Prime Minister and his team on how to deal with terrorism. Pakistan seems to have a three-step outreach, a three-step approach towards outlawed terror outfits, hold dialogues, sign peace deals, and moderation in front of the public. Just the way it has done with two banned outfits, one of them being a listed terror group. The government has struck deals with the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and the Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan, TTP and TLP, after long negotiations and signing peace deals. The Pakistan government has decided to reveal the details of the deal in the next 10 days. Now, reports have surfaced suggesting that the so-called peace agreements were brokered by the Pakistani army, and General Qamar Javed Bajwa was at the core of these negotiations. As per Pakistani media reports, the Imran Khan government had not bowed down to the violent protests. In fact, the Prime Minister had authorized the use of force against the protesters, but it was the military leadership which was against the use of force. The Pakistani news report reveals how the agreement came about and why it was decided to keep it a secret for this long. After the Prime Minister authorized the use of force against the TLP marchers, the military leadership reviewed the operational dynamics and possible consequences of using force against the crowd. According to the report, the military leadership advised against the use of force, arguing that it was not a solution. Thus, the outcome, bowing down to the extremist group, avoid bloodshed and sign a peace deal. The developments emerging from these reports assume greater significance in the light of what has been transpiring between the powerful army and the government. Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, said that Prime Minister Imran Khan is his boss, not a friend. The statement came in response to the parliamentarians' query in the Parliamentary Committee of National Security meeting. A local news channel revealed conversations between General Bajwa and some of the parliamentarians. When General Bajwa was asked why he had come but had not brought his friend to the important meeting, General Bajwa abruptly answered that Prime Minister Imran Khan was his boss and not his friend. The remark indicated that even though Imran Khan is the face of the leadership, it is the military which is at the core of the deals. So it is becoming clear that though the army calls the shots, the government is willing to assert itself. These reports clearly paint a different image of the Pakistan government, an image that the government itself has been negating over the last couple of days, or trying to at least. First, they hailed the peace deal with the outlawed Tehreek-e-Labbaik. Second, they brokered another peace deal with the Tehreek-e-Taliban. And thirdly, they took the help of the Afghan Taliban to reach an agreement. Lastly, they justified the peace deals and called the terror groups ideologues.
There are ideologues. There are people who have legitimate grievances against probably us. There are people who have joined who took this course under compulsions. But all of them are Pakistanis. So the state of Pakistan wants to give its citizen a chance.
Going back across now to our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik. Anas, these developments come in the backdrop of the rift between the army and the government over the appointment of the ISI chief as well. Now, not only were these peace agreements signed with these outfits, the government tried its best to justify the move as well. And now further reports tell us what went on behind the scenes when these peace deals were being signed, with the army being involved.
Well, that is very obvious, because any such peace deal would not have been brokered without the nod of the Pakistani military establishment, given that they are part and parcel of the country's rulers and the ruling elite. That is one of the reasons when we saw this article being emerged, this report done by Fahad Hussain, who's one of the most prominent journalists in Pakistan, and he said that the Pakistani civilian leadership had authorized military action as well. We saw reports emerging after that National Security Committee meeting that had taken place on the matter of TLP, which the Pakistani Prime Minister had called, and there were reports in a section of the Pakistani media that the Pakistani Army Chief was heard as was quoted as saying that the people who are there out on the roads in the name of Islam, it would be a bit difficult to open fire on them, and the Pakistani government wanted that to happen. So therefore, any such deal, any such agreement with any proscribed organization. That could not have been possible without the nod of the military or the military taking a lead. So it has been an open secret with regards to that. But when it comes to TTP per se, particularly TTP per se, the bigger worry would be because TTP is responsible for a lot of bloodshed within Pakistan, especially from its inception in 2007 to date. In between, there was a lull for about 3 to 4 years. Attacks did continue, but not in that greater numbers. So there would be genuine grievances, and there could be flack that the Pakistani government could possibly have to face from the families of those who have lost their loved ones in the attacks that have been carried out by the Tehreek-e-Taliban. Molly?
Right, and the Imran Khan government has opened a can of worms. The back-to-back deals with the banned outfits spell encouragement for all other banned organizations within the country. There is a new path of legitimacy for all the terrorists in Pakistan. Just sign a peace deal with the government or arm twist the government to agree to one. There are at least 81 banned groups in Pakistan. Now, 2 more outfits are demanding peace deals with Islamabad: the outlawed Ahle-Sunnat Wali Jamaat and the Pashtun Tahfuz movement. These 2 groups have threatened the government of Pakistan with protests after witnessing the TLP achieve victory through demonstrations. The groups of Ahle-Sunnat Wali Jamaat and Pashtun Tahfuz movement have decided to take the same path. The precedent set by the Pakistan government has given birth to this new trend. These outfits have learned a new trick to hold the Imran Khan government hostage, to make them sign whatever deals they want. That's not all. A Shiite Muslim religio-political organization in Pakistan called the Shia Ulema Council has demanded the removal of the Tehreek-e-Jafariya from the Pakistan's list of proscribed organizations. Tehreek-e-Jafariya is a Shia militant group which was banned twice by Pervez Musharraf's regime in January 2002. Going back across now to our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik. Anas, tell us more about the demands that have now been raised by 2 more outfits, taking inspiration from what's happened with the TLP and the TTP.
Well, this is a dangerous precedent, as you had pointed out, as we had been conversing 2 days back as well. Ahle-Sunnat wal Jamaat, the ASWJ chief Aurangzeb Farooqi, has called on the government to basically delist him and his party, otherwise he would take to the streets. And the same with the Tehreek-e-Jafariya Pakistan, the TJP. Both are extremist organizations within their own sects. The Tehreek-e-Jafariya Pakistan, TJP, is a Shiite extremist organization, whereas the Ahle-Sunnat wal Jamaat is a Sunni extremist organization, both sectarian driven sectarian sect-wise, and that is a dangerous precedent, because if the government was to go down to street power, then the bigger question arises that where is the writ of the government? There would be other groups that can possibly emerge, and as you have pointed out, the demand by Pashtun Tahfuz movement leader Manzoor Pashtun to hold talks with them, that is something that had been ruled out by the military and the government way back. They did try to converse with them, but after this renewed trend that has been set by the government itself, it would be a difficult road to walk on. It would be interesting days to come, as we see, because these parties have street power, and more demands would be there. So what would be government's course of action? Because they've opened a Pandora box. What would be the government's course of action? That is still unknown. Molly?
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.